today's throwback, we're having a look at the DC Collectibles Earth 2 Batman. Yes, Spot's going to be calling this a throwback because we've already had a look at this figure. I knew when I picked up three figures, I picked up the Flash, the Green Lantern, and the Batman. I just got a good deal on all three of them, that I had in the back of my mind one of those little worms. Ew, no, not one of those real worms, but a little worm in my brain that was telling me I had already had a look at this figure. And sure enough, I went through the archives of Spot's 4,000 plus videos. Seems that much. I know, but it's actually true. It's about 4,000 videos I've done. And sure enough, I found this guy. He was on, I'd done a review of him. So we're going to call this a throwback. We're going to have a look at this guy once again. Comes to us from the Earth 2 banner. Comes to us from DC Collectibles. Comes to us from DC Comics, the New 52. Package is the exact same as all the other figures that we had to look at. A slightly older figure as well. Comes also with a Batarang, which I'm not going to touch base on just yet. There's a reason for it. Inside of the package, there's a picture there of the figure itself based on the art of Nicholas Scott, sculpted by Phil Ramirez. And the other figures on the back. We've already had a look at Earth 2 Wonder Woman, and we just recently had a look at the Flash and Green Lantern. That finishes all four figures from this set, eventually. It only took me a year or so to finish them all, but after the fall of the original Dark Knight, the new Batman rises to defend the world against injustice. Based on the designs seen in the monthly Earth 2 comic book, is the latest action figure from DC Collectibles, Batman. It actually gives you an exclamation mark on the end. To check out more from the folks over at DC Collectibles, or DC Comics, go to www.dccomics.com. You can also head over and find your comic shop in your area. I get a lot of questions that say, Spot, I don't have a comic book shop in my area. Well, you might. You might not know it. www.comicshoplocator.com. Put your postal code in, your zip code, whatever code you use, and it'll tell you a comic shop in your area. I've used it. I can tell you it works. Sounds like a testimonial. It does work. Spot's going to take a break and get this guy opened up, even though we've already had a look at him before. And in this throwback, we're going to have a look again at the DC Comics New 52 Batman from Earth 2. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's got more videos, more for this video coming your way. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Spot, I'm sure, does not have the correct wording down for this, but basically, to sum things up, those who don't learn from their mistakes, their past mistakes, are doomed to repeat them. Case in point. When we had a look at this figure before, what was the first thing that we had to look at? We had to look at this Batarang right here. This one right here. I, knowing the plague and plight that would come with that Batarang, still attempted to try to get it out of the packaging. And what ended up happening? It broke. Let me just show you how everything comes together. There's the packaging right there. The Batarang, if I can do my best to kind of fit it in there, is wedged underneath a little clip there and a little clip on the other side. So the first thing you probably think is, oh, I'm just going to kind of push it through. Well, pushing it through warps and bends the Batarang in such a way that, yes, it does break. It's supposed to, I think it's supposed to actually hinge, because it looks like it's attached by a peg. See right there? It broke right off. And I feel like it should rotate. But yeah, very cheap, not cheap, but very brittle plastic. I'm going to have to glue that into place. And in fact, I think if I was to talk to my past self, which would be a funny and interesting conversation, I think, I would probably have said to myself, hey, I just reviewed the New 52 Earth 2 Batman, and my past self would have said, did your Batarang break? And I would say, yeah, look at it. It broke. And my past self would say, well, you saw my video. Wouldn't you have known to be a little more careful? Yeah, you would have thought that, past Spot, but sadly that was not the case. So I have a broken Batarang. Oh, bananas. We'll put that right there. Let's have a look at the New 52 Batman. Now, what you would probably even assume, too, is if you've already had a look at this figure, why didn't you just have a look at the figure that was loose? Well, I don't know what actually I did with that figure. So this is basically a fresh coat of paint, a fresh new figure, a fresh broken Batarang. It's actually nice that I ended up reviewing this figure again in this packaging rather than the original packaging, because one of the big issues I had, if you want to watch that video again, please do. Please go and check that out. Is despite the fact, even though I hated the face, and I still don't like the face all that much, it seems a lot cleaner, it does, than the one that we had a look at before. There was all this residue or goop all over the forehead of Batman that does not seem to be the issue here at all with this Batman. So it worked out perfectly. Didn't work out perfectly with a non-broken Batarang, but I digress. One thing I mentioned, and one thing I'll reiterate in this throwback, is I love this coloring. This dark gray mixed with almost a blood cranberry red and black looks stunning. Really, really loving this gray, red, black combination. It's not perfect. No, of course. I think one problem I have, talking to my former self, is that the front of the chest, which I don't even know if I mentioned before, but the front of the chest, being that it's a shinier black, seems not to match the head. The cape also is doesn't feel like it's as shiny as the previous figure that we had to look at, but I find this, if this was just a little bit more pulled back on the sheen, not Charlie, not Emilio, even though his last name is Sheen, Estevez, Mr. Estevez. Or I guess, no, that's not true. Let me just correct myself, because even though we're looking at this figure, somebody is going to take a point that I mentioned, non-relevant to the figure. Their original names are Estevez, not Sheen. They changed their name to Sheen. Emilio kept the name Estevez. Whew. Somebody's going to say, Spot, I looked this up! Yeah, I know, but we're looking at a figure, not Emilio Estevez. He does have one open hand accommodating a Batarang that is now in broken pieces all over this backdrop. The other hand is molded shut. I don't know if I'm crazy about the fact that the cape has all these folds in it. That if it was just straight, I think I would like it a little bit more. Like the sculpting that they put at the top of the cape works good for me. But when it gets to the bottom, it gets a little weird looking. I don't know why it has to be like that, but it is what it is. But the face is still not my favorite. Taking off all that extra oomph and schmutz all over the top of his forehead at least cleans the figure a little bit better. But I think the face is still a little, I don't want to say derpy, but the face is just a little on the special side. The red eyes are a nice touch. This, like if it was just this, I don't know how he would talk, but if it was just that, it would look good. But then it's this really elongated jaw. Taking, of course, from the source material, yes, that's what Batman looked like, but I just don't like, maybe it's just the very long jaw that's killing it for me. Also, this is probably a good time that, like, showing teeth. This does not scream, this does not strike fear into criminals when you've got, it almost looks like he's happy, like he just walked in and somebody's celebrating his birthday with a surprise party. And he's like, oh, thank you guys, thank you. Doesn't scream Batman to me. Also, a little side note, you can see his nostrils. He's got big nostrils. Why I feel the need to include that, I don't know. I don't know. When it comes to Batman's posability, he does have a ball joint in the head. I guess you could kind of tilt the head to kind of throw off this weird expression that they've given him. It still doesn't help the cause, though. Shoulders hinge out. Full rotation, although it gets stuck a little bit around the cape area, so be warned. Here's a swivel point on the bicep area. He does have a bend in the elbow, which it's just really stiff on this figure because I've just gotten him out of packaging. He has no wrist articulation or anything like that to speak of. I would think that he would have had waist swivel, just the way that everything is cut, but instead it's just been completely sculpted in. Legs split out very easily. Forward and back motion very easily, although it sticks a little bit when it gets to the back area, the back bat bum. It doesn't go any further back than that. He does have a hinge in the knee and also a swivel point right above where the boot is. Basically, the boot is connecting where it swivels. And finally, he has also a hinge in the foot, just really stiff on these feet. Is this a great Batman? No, not at all. Is it a great figure? I guess that would be the same as, is this a great Batman? The answer would be, not quite. The head is good. I like the head. Well, let me rephrase that. Let me just rewind that. The body is good. About that is good. It's posable where it needs to be posable. I guess it could be more posable, but it's okay. What kills it for me, though, is the head. Even if they had closed the mouth, I think that could have helped and gone a long way. But they left the mouth open. They've given him this weird smile to his face. It's not even really a smile. It's just like a... And I'm just surprised. Hey, it's my birthday, guys. Thanks for coming in. It's not a great Batman. I love the coloring, but coloring doesn't go very far when it comes to a figure. At the end of the day, sculpt can still kill it. And unfortunately, it's that face that kills it for this Batman. I really wish I could have talked to my former self. We would have had a debate back and forth. Why would you have broken the Batarang? You broke the Batarang, you knew exactly what was going to happen, and I would have said, yes, I know, and I still broke it anyways. And then my former self would have said, well, what's it like in 2016? And I would say, it's pretty much what it was back then. I'm just a little bit older. That doesn't sound like a very fun, exciting conversation. At any rate, today's throwback, we were having a look at the DC Collectibles. This was the new 52, or Earth 2 Batman, with an ugly face. A very ugly face. And a broken Batarang. Let's not mention that. Well, let's mention it one more time. Broken Batarang. Stay tuned, guys. More videos. Spot's got more videos. He does. More videos heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.